G'day, Canaroonies.
How we going? welcome to USA Road Trip Adventures. My dad told me to say that.
We're going to be going through our USA road trip.
Yeah, Sherry. That's where she gets her beautiful name from. Open her up. As you can see, 5-star hotel looking stuff.
If you want a bigger room than this, then you're kidding yourself. This is basically the Taj Mahal of automobiles.
The absolute queen bed itself. Beautiful. Hooked up some pretty cool things here. Little hooks on either side.
Hang up the old
So there we hang the old towel up like this.
cozy.
Put a little hole right here. Goes up like that.
Bang.
No one can even see.
Incognito.
Comes with beautiful blinds, as you can see underneath again. Just some more room for storage. A couple of gym bags. A few things in there. Got ourselves a bin.
The recliner-esque seats have what we call dad mode, which is engaged normally 100% of the time. And you know, when shit gets real after a long day of drive, you can just yeah.
Got ourselves a charger port, phone holder. It's just the full works in here. Just doesn't get much better than that. No number plate on the front. Pretty much a stolen vehicle. So it started off, we went through a 24-hour journey to land in LA, and the first thing that happened, my suitcase did not arrive.
Yep, she was MIA after landing in LA. Did not find his bag for, what was it, nearly a week?
Yeah, it was almost a week. I had to go get it myself because they never dropped it off, so cheers. We then ventured out and had a look at the Hollywood Boulevard, and what did you think of that?
It was the dirtiest thing. It was actually like revolting nearly. It was ridiculous. Like all the stars were just covered in grime and stuff. Like nothing was shiny. There was heaps of homeless people everywhere. Rubbish everywhere. Nothing was clean. Graffiti.
So then we went up to get a good picture with the Hollywood sign, which I had seen a YouTube video of how to get up to like a secret spot, which you can get a good photo. So we did that, and it was hot and
secret entrance.
steep.
Very steep. But it was, yeah, it was definitely worth it though. Even some of the houses just that you see as you're walking along to the hike up there. Just some big dollar properties up there. So it's a good walk, that's for sure. You know, and then yeah, getting up to the top of it, that's definitely worth it.
So after we had seen that, we went down to Venice Beach, where we looked around the Santa Monica Pier, went on the swings.
Yeah, just walked along the beachfront from one end to the other. And Santa Monica, like Hollywood Boulevard, was just pretty dirty and grimy, and yeah, lots of homeless people there as well. But the skate park was sick. A pretty good highlight.
Yeah, people that were just crazy talented, doing awesome tricks.
Awesome vibe down there. Everyone's just chilling.
So after we spent over a week in LA, we decided to head up the one towards San Francisco. So we stopped at a few places such as
Santa Barbara,
all the way up to like Big Sur.
except that was closed.
Yeah, Big Sur was closed, but We ended up staying in a town called Paso Robles that night because we couldn't make it all the way to San Francisco.
That was the first night that we actually ventured out of LA, stayed in the van at a Walmart.
Yeah, first Walmart.
After the underdog Planet Fitness for a shower.
So it was an experience to start off the journey.
Yeah.
We then finished the coast drive all the way up to San Francisco, arriving at night time, where we stayed at another Walmart before we ventured out into the heart of the city the next morning.
Yeah, and that's we're just cruising around. It's very steep, it's really hilly, but really cool architecture for the area. A lot of like leaning houses and stuff. But yeah, it's certainly a cool place to just cruise around and check everything out. We actually managed to find a really cool spot in the middle of the city. It
was called Corona Heights Park, and you climbed, it was just a small little park in the middle of the city. When we climbed up to the top, you just saw a beautiful view of the whole city, 360 degrees. So that was really awesome, good way to see the city. We ended up going to a place for the sunset called Land's End, which we found like a cool little off-path forest trail, which we followed through, and we ended up getting an awesome view of the bridge while the sun came down, and it was just an awesome little spot that we managed to come across.
Yeah, it was good fun. Just stumbled off the beaten path and found this awesome spot just to chill for the evening, and realised that we left my GoPro on top of the van the whole time that it was there.
Yeah, and luckily,
no one stole it.
Yeah, I was lucky. So after we had done San Francisco, we wanted to go through Yosemite National Park, but it was closed due to the snow. So we had to go a little bit north and head through the upper part of the forest. And we started to see a little bit of snow, and we didn't know if we were actually going to see it this early into the trip, but we managed to see a little bit driving through all the way to Gardnerville, where it wasn't snowing in the car park.
Yeah. Then we woke up next morning, and yeah, she was snowing. There was probably like half a foot of snow everywhere. That was the first time I'd ever seen snow in my life, so that was pretty cool. You should see that happening.
Yeah, I didn't expect to wake up this early into the trip in -2 degrees, sleds, what are they? To get rid of the
plows.
Yeah, plows in the car park. Yeah, this early into the trip, it was weird to see.
And just seeing their systems that they run by, like everyone has their plows ready to go, and they're all out getting all the roads ready before everyone wakes up and stuff. It's awesome. It all works so well.
So after Gardnerville, we left early in the morning because we wanted to get to Death Valley, and it was completely still snowed in, so we had to learn how to drive in the snow, which was a bit iffy.
Yeah.
With snow tyres, we actually managed to do alright.
Made it through. Sherry soldiered on. She did alright. So it wasn't too bad. We just had to drive real slow, be real careful. Everyone else in that weather, though, they were so used to it, they were just flying past, still doing so, they were going so fast. But yeah, then we got to Death Valley, and sort of expecting it to be a dry, barren, hot desert, and rolled up and it was snowing.
Yeah, snowing for a bit of it, and then we drove through and we found these like canyons on the beginning of the drive, and there was a few people there, and one of them actually told us to wait like 5 more minutes because there's these fighter jets that do training through there, and we're hoping to see some fly through the actual valley, but unfortunately we didn't get to see any. We could hear them, but they never came that low.
Yeah, so missed out on that, but it was a cool spot just to have a look around anyway. Big valley in the middle. But then that wasn't even Death Valley itself. We had to go through like a smaller bowl first, and then go up over this big ridge, and then yeah, get the barren Death Valley.
So some parts were awesome, some were just quite open and empty. But we drove on through all the way to Las Vegas that evening, where we slept before we were going to have one big night. So yeah, the next night we went into the strip, and first thing we did is zip lining down the strip from 11 stories high. So
yeah, that was awesome. Just going through at night with all the people there. Just something that just keeps going on, and like once we'd done it, we were just standing around having a couple of drinks, and there was still people zip lining through them in the mall. It was awesome.
Yeah, and there's just casinos absolutely everywhere, as you can imagine, in the McDonald's, in every single shop you can think of. So It was weird just to be able to just gamble openly everywhere, drink on the streets. That was also a legal thing to do, so we had a bit of fun.
Yeah, no, it was a big night, but awesome place.
So after Las Vegas, we moved on to the Grand Canyon, which we did a 3-stop bus tour. Cost us $70 US, but it was definitely worth the money.
Yeah, and similar to Death Valley, heading out the Grand Canyon expecting a pretty barren desert sort of landscape. It was once again freezing.
Yeah, we definitely needed the snow jackets for that.
So cold that we were absolutely underprepared. But the views and just the grand scale of the canyon itself, you just can't comprehend it in person even. But just how much of it we saw would have been such a tiny snippet of it, and it was just like, seemed like you saw so much of it already. Yeah, it's huge.
Stop 1 was an old west town. Stop 2 was a skywalk, so over 1 kilometre above the Grand Canyon floor, you walk out over this glass walkway and you can just look directly down, that was awesome. And then stop 3 was this really open part of the Grand Canyon, which we could walk on this small cliff out into the middle, so 360 degrees around you was just canyon, so that was just amazing to see.
Next we moved on to Phoenix in Arizona. Initially we were just going to be sort of staying 1, maybe 2 nights, just passing through. We weren't expecting to be doing much there. We actually met up with some people that showed us around Grand Canyon University,
which was just unreal. It's just like the movies that you can think of, like parties. The dorms are just crazy, and they've got way more facilities than I actually thought that they even would, such as like just rooms with table tennis tables, pool tables,
bowling alley. They even have like Subway on campus, like a full supermarket. Like, it's crazy.
All the sports fields. So we ended up actually watching a baseball game on the grand opening of this new field that they had. So that was pretty awesome to see, like how they just do that as a casual school thing.
Yeah, and just to get people involved, they have all that free drinks and food. So gets more people in for the crowds and that, and yeah, just the atmosphere of it all was awesome. It was, yeah, exactly like you'd see in the movies. It's definitely real.
So another part of the college thing is we met someone that was going to a house party, and they actually invited us along, so we couldn't turn that down. We ended up going there thinking, like, there was 10 people out the front. We thought, oh, it's just going to be a regular house party, pretty bad. We thought it was going to actually be. But yeah, we were wrong. We opened the doors just, and inside was more people than the house should ever have in it. Just going crazy.
Absolutely packed to the rafters. So could barely even open the door to get into the party. It was just that many people, and it was going crazy. Certainly not what we expected after what we'd sort of seen outside. So
then we went out to the back because it was just too busy inside, and there was some people doing like shotgun cans. So we thought we'd get out the Aussie vibe and start doing some Shoeys, and everyone just loved that, and everyone was feeling it. Which then led to actually us meeting Zach, who we later in the trip went back to Phoenix to visit.
Yeah, so that was an awesome night. Yeah, met heaps of cool people there, and yeah, Phoenix ended up being one of the massive highlights in the trip for us in the end. Just from the people we'd met through the university and then going to this party, so it was awesome.
So after Phoenix, we headed east towards Albuquerque, where we wanted to visit the Breaking Bad locations. We managed to see Walter White's house, Jesse Pinkman's, and Los Polos Hermanos, the restaurant, which we had lunch at.
Yeah, so that's where we really came into contact with American portion sizes. Ordered a burrito, and it was a half-size burrito. And it came out, and it was a full-size burrito under a half a pound of chips. and that's what a half-size burrito was, for like $8.50 or something.
We then moved up a little bit north to Santa Fe, where there was a museum which we got told to go to called Meow Wolf. And it's basically like an ultra reality museum where you walk through and things just change as if you're on like a hallucinogen drug. So you open up, if you're in a house, you open up a fridge and you walk into the fridge and that will take you to a whole nother dimension. Same goes with all different types of areas throughout the place.
Yeah, that was sick. That was, yeah, just spent ages in there just trying to find every different room because there was just so much unique stuff going on. You really wanted to try and see as much as you could. Exploring it was awesome. So that was definitely worth a bit of a detour to head up there and check that out.
We then made it over to Oklahoma City. Didn't really know what we were expecting. Apparently we drove in on the one time a year they sometimes get a snowstorm, which they did, so we actually got stuck there for a couple of days.
Yeah, ice storm kept us in.
How cold is Oklahoma City?
Fucking cold, mate. Believe it or not.
Met up with a few people there. We're just hanging out with some people at this girl's house, and
This is where we...
that she had a shotgun just chilling in her house, and we were just like, what's that doing there? She's like, oh yeah, it's where I keep it.
Yeah, this is where we learn how the gun laws are. And people just like that, we didn't expect we'd have this shotgun just leaning up against a cupboard loaded. So
yeah, it's just like all relaxed about it, like nothing. So that was a bit of a shock to the system for us, but something we ended up getting used to in the end anyway. So next we moved on down to Texas, and the first stop that we pulled up in there was Fort Worth, which was certainly one of the more unique areas on the trip that we went to. It was literally like going back into the old west. Cobblestone like roads and brick buildings still, even some wood buildings still there as well. Everyone walking around with full cowboy outfits, the hats, the boots, with the fucking spurs on the back. Yeah, that was crazy. Totally different to like any sort of vibe we had at that point.
yeah, so we ended up going out that night to see what the club scene was in a town like that, and it wasn't really what we're used to because it was 100% Old West, so everyone was two-stepping. If you wanted to be cool, you had to know how to two-step. If you wanted to go, you had to know how to two-step. So for us, we were just outcasts. Didn't have cowboy hats or anything, so we just looked like idiots, really.
Yeah, the way we dressed just gave us away so badly. But yeah, still had a cool time though, just even checking out the scene and how it all works. We were just blown away with it.
For the next day, we also booked tickets to a rodeo that they had going on there, which was awesome. It was all like horse rodeo. They did a few like calf tackling and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was different. Definitely nothing you'd see back in Australia. Really, it was like the real deal. So.
Yeah, and then a 14-year-old girl ended up winning one of the events for the horse riding, and she walked away with 45k. Straight into the bank.
Yeah, it's a good career. Next we moved on to Dallas, another major city in Texas. So we went out to a place called Deep Ellum where there was a big club scene. It was definitely more our style.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Met some people there and just got to see what the Texas drinking life was all about.
Yeah. 2 a.m. lockout laws suck though, so that's a real downer on the night. So everyone has to get up and go by then.
We moved south a little bit to Austin where we googled the best smokehouse in Texas and Austin happened to have the best one, so we went there and it was a big open smokehouse, $25 all you can eat, so we thought we were just going to absolutely clean them out.
Salt Lick Barbecue proved us wrong, that's for sure. Going in there with our expectations, we certainly did not live up to them.
But it tasted delicious.
Oh, it was just incredible. Everything just melts in your mouth. You didn't even have to cut the meat. They don't even give you a knife, they give you a spoon and a fork.
Yeah, it's pretty good how it ended. So after Austin, we went down to Houston, the last city we were going to go to in Texas, where we went to a college baseball game. Ended up winning some stuff.
Yeah, Houston Cougars provided the goods for us. I ended up getting the fan of the game. Put me up on the big screen with a bag of goodies. I had like a cap, a Houston Cougars flag, a miniature baseball bat, some stubby coolers. That was awesome.
I had to spell out a word on the field, but prior to that they had already told me what it was going to be, so cheers for that. I ended up winning $25 voucher for a cafe we went to the next morning, which they sold these baguette things called po' boys, and they put a pound of meat, whatever you want, prawns, oysters, chicken, brisket,
shredded beef,
everything into this baguette, and it was just amazing.
That was awesome.
That was the New Orleans style baguette that they do. Which leads on to the next city, which was New Orleans.
Went on down to New Orleans and didn't really know what to expect down there. Ended up finding out a lot about the culture and the history of the place in regards to a lot of their voodoo background. They believe that majority of the city itself is haunted. Basically everywhere you go, everyone knows a ghost story or two about certain places or even personal experiences. So everyone you talk to is really, really interested in spreading the culture and the history of it. So it's an awesome place for meeting people and certainly learning, that's for sure.
So we decided to take on that culture. We ended up doing a ghost tour, which was quite interesting. And then later that night we booked a ghost pub crawl, which was awesome. It was just like a generic pub crawl, but in between the pubs was a leader who was just telling us stories about the buildings that we'd be walking past and the buildings we were about to go into. So it was good to get like the best of both worlds, to meet some people and set us up for a massive night on Bourbon Street.
And the tour guide took us to a couple of spots, like an absinthe bar that
I hated.
Well, the absinthe was shit house, but it was a place that Elvis Presley actually filmed a movie at back in the 50s,
1900s.
60s,
So Bourbon Street after the tour was just chaos. Like, this town is where they host the Mardi Gras, so it's just known for a party town. No doors on some bars because they have a 24-hour drinking law, so you can drink whenever you want. There's always a party going on. We ended up buying like 2-litre beers and just getting absolutely
thrashed. Absolutely mixed that night. That was awesome. Just the party atmosphere is like a serious thing down there. Even walking around at like 7 o'clock at night on the ghost tour, people were already partying, the streets was already packed, and then by the time we ended up getting around at like 11 o'clock, it was just full on. Just people everywhere. Everyone just loving the vibe, everyone there just having a good time. It was awesome.
We also went to a college basketball game there, which was pretty fun because it was more of a hype situation than it was a 50-50 support situation. So the whole team from that college was there just going crazy when the other team was just getting absolutely ripped into by them. But the away team ended up destroying them in the actual game. So
they got smashed. But that was cool. The event itself is all uni based, and so they just give out all these different shirts and stuff because it's just uni students that normally go to it. But we went and ended up getting a whole bunch of different university shirts from Tulane, so it ended up being worth our time going there.
So then we did a massive drive, about 10 hours straight to Miami.
Long drive, but once you started getting out of the like buy-in areas of New Orleans where it's swamplands and that stuff, heading towards Miami where you started getting a lot of open roads towards the beach, and then they got a lot of areas on the side of the road where people just pull up and start fishing.
Started getting warmer down there as well. By the time we got to Miami, it was hot, so hot and humid. The city itself is on the water, beautiful. Behind the water very ghetto.
Yeah.
So we learnt that.
Yeah, 2 streets back in from the waterfront, and it is just trashed. The city is just, it's not a pretty place to be around. But yeah, everything that's on the waterfront is awesome though, like really nice. Got a couple of stitch ups in Miami as well. Got scammed a couple of times actually. The first time was we bought some jet ski vouchers off of Groupon. Rocked up at the place, it was just an abandoned car park. We were sort of wondering what was going on. The lady in the security car came around and she said, "You must be here for the jet skis." And we said, "Yes." "How did you know that?" She goes, "Oh, people come here all the time for them. It's been a scam since the last hurricane came through. They just take people's money." So we got the refund on Groupon from that one and bought another set of jet ski vouchers.
I decided to look online and go for a different company and see if we could try our luck again. So this company actually existed, so we rocked up and the desk and all that was there, but the people weren't. We got there half an hour prior to our booking because that's what it said to do. They got there 1 hour after our booking with no jet skis that were working and basically told us, like, "Sorry, your fault," and they weren't even going to give us our money back until we sort of basically fought for it. So we never actually got on jet skis, unfortunately, but yeah, I guess those things happen.
Yeah.
The next day, Kate, like my friend, which I met in Europe, she let us come over to get our mail, and she decided to take us out for dinner with some friends, which were really nice. And so we went out along Delray Beach, which is an awesome place. Compared to the rest of Miami, which is a bit of a shithole and a ghetto city, Delray was so nice. It's nice and clean and like really bright, vibrant. There's all these wild people at the rehab centre just playing drums and shit in the street, just vibing. They let us stay at their house, luckily, so we got a night away from the van, and they had a pool which we got to go in, and it was just good to relax for a night and get out of just like this tiny thing. And then went up to Savannah, which was nice. It wasn't too busy, it was a bit more of a low-key sort of town. Had a really cool French district which was along the river, so we were just hanging out there for a few hours, checking out all the shops, having a few tours and stuff, which was cool. Then we got to go to my hometown, Charleston. Yeah. A bit different to Charleston back home. It's not as good, but doesn't have a skatey. Nah. Has a pretty good river walk though, with heaps of different shops and pubs and stuff. There was a big pineapple. You get a photo with that. We went up to Lewisburg after that, which was just another pretty sleepy little town out in the middle of nowhere as we were making our way up to Washington DC. But that actually was pretty cool because they had a cave system there that you could go check out. At one point they had a skylight that was like 12 stories high. That's how they originally found the cave. Apparently a farmer used to chuck head animals and stuff down there. And yeah, that's how they eventually found it, and they still left all the bones and stuff from the animals down in the cave, so it's pretty eerie but pretty cool place to check out.
I wish for lots and lots of beers tonight. Animal bones, the ladder they used to get up with,
Big doggy dog bones.
It was also covered in snow around that area, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, got to drive through the snow again. It was like a good probably foot at least.
Then we drove up to Washington DC, where Nick Vaninen was coming to see an NBA game, and it was just timed perfectly so we could pick him up, and he wanted to actually spend a few days with us. So we booked the same NBA tickets, the Timberwolves versus the Wizards, so I got to go to that.
Saw Karl Anthony Towns absolutely dagger the Wizards right at the end. Just delicious. And had three in the van for a while.
Yeah, so as you can see, there's only 2 seats, so Nico bought a couple blow-up cushions and sat right here. So that was a bit sketchy going, 70 miles an hour on the freeway. But
made it work.
No one died. We did like 40 kilometres of walking around Washington. It was just crazy how much walking we were doing, because it was like barely any parking, so a lot of it was on foot. And we saw the White House, which was
underwhelming to say the least. Shit's fucking small as fuck. The Capitol building shits all over it.
Yeah, Capitol building was far more impressive. One of the nights we went to an Irish pub, just that was like near where we were parked, and
it was like an Irish. I wouldn't even call him a singer as such. He was more like a
comedian.
Yeah,
like with a guitar.
But he was doing like little skits and doing like folk songs and that sort of stuff. So it was actually really interesting to listen to. And he found out we were Australian, so did Waltzing Matilda and a couple other Aussie tunes for us as well. So that got pretty hot.
We also blew our first tyre when we were in Washington, and the closest mechanic was like a 15-minute walk. So we decided to just fucking take the tyre off and just roll it there, get a new tyre on it and just bring it back. And luckily they had like some cheap ones for $30 or something, so we ended up doing both rear tyres, brand new ones.
$30 tyres.
Yeah. So then the next thing we were doing was driving to the big old Apple, and with Nico as well. So 4-hour drive up to New York City, stopped through Philadelphia on the way to check out some
mess.
Yeah, so
shit was expensive as fuck.
And then continued on through to New York. Now that was where we were struggling to find somewhere to park.
Massive.
So in Brooklyn we found this like 5-story car park, and it was like $25 a day or something. So we were just like, oh well. We went up to like the top story, found like a little secluded area, reversed it in, and like just sort of hid it from like cameras and stuff. And we ended up keeping it there for like 3 days and never got in trouble. It cost like $70 to have it there for 3 full days, and we're like a 5-minute train into New York City. So
we just found our camping spot for tonight in New York.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, fucking not bad, eh?
But driving around there was just a fucking nightmare. It was just a joke.
yeah, we travelled about 5 kilometres in 2 hours in New York City.
Shit.
Traffic just does not move there. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
But we went to Times Square at midnight, and that was just unreal. Just like lights absolutely everywhere. It just seems like daylight pretty much. People just everywhere, even at midnight.
Yeah, still everyone kicking around.
So that was awesome. We did all the like touristy stuff. We did a river cruise out to the Statue of Liberty. We climbed the Rockefeller building. That was awesome for views.
How cold is it up here?
Yeah, no, look, it's pretty hot, a bit cold, eh?
And we did a little bit of Central Park. Didn't have heaps of time to be cruising around, but got to explore a bit of it, which was cool. It's just such a weird thing, having a huge path like that in the middle of the city that's just no other vegetation whatsoever, basically. Checked out a small little back alley taco place called Break Room in New York City. That was delicious. Their Instagram put us onto that. It was all mouth-watering stuff, and yeah, lived up to the expectation, that's for sure. It was sick.
New York was a big plus. That was a good place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we needed to take Nick to the airport because he was going back to the UK, so dropped him off, and we started driving through Pennsylvania. So this is where we have been told about that the Amish live, in the Amish village. So did like a 3-hour detour to see this, and we thought it was going to be like crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty underwhelming. Saw like a couple of people riding around on like horse-drawn carts, some guy ploughing his fields with the fucking thing on the back of his horse, and it was cool.
So there was some Amish stuff, but there was still roads, there was still cars, there was still shops and service stations and stuff. So
some people choose to not take advantage of everything.
Yeah. So after that 3-hour detour, we headed into Pittsburgh, which is another one of their major cities.
Which was a bit of a shithole.
Yeah, not much there. There was only thing that was good there was, I can't remember what it's called, but there's like a train that goes up 45-degree angle directly up a hill. It just like sits It travels flat all the way up it, and that reveals like a huge view of the city, which actually was really nice.
And that was only like a couple of bucks to do, so that was one of the cheapest views I've had, and that was actually really good.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
So Pittsburgh, yeah, it was okay. We then moved on to another massive city, good old Chicago. We stayed north side the whole time. We ventured into south side quickly, and it was just to have a look at the Gallagher house from Shameless. Got a couple photos.
It's worth going down there, but it was just, you just felt like you're in danger just being down there. Everything was just destroyed. Really shady people just cruising around in groups and stuff. So
apart from that, the city's pretty nice. We went into the downtown, went to the top of the Hancock building, which is about 100 stories, and you stand on the glass and they just tilt the glass out of the building like this, and you're just like sort of holding on, going out, looking down over like the ground. So that was interesting.
yeah, pretty well shot myself.
We also looked around the Navy Pier, which is just one of their famous piers. They have a huge mall on the pier. And because it's the Windy City, we almost got fucking blown off the thing.
Yeah, we didn't realise we were on the opposite side of the way the wind was coming, so we thought it was all good when we were walking on the pier till we got out on the end from behind the building, and yeah, nearly took a plunge into the old fucking ocean.
Yeah, that was some strong wind.
Checked out the Chicago Sports Museum, which ended up probably being one of my favourite things we did on the trip. Just the history they had in there was incredible, especially with all the Jordan and the Bulls stuff in there. They had stuff like the last ever shot that he put up as a Bull to take out the second three-peat. They had that ring in there. Heaps of Chicago Cubs stuff, Sammy Stozers. That bloke's bat that was smashed in half had the corks in it, that was in there. And they even actually had the Back to the Future 2 hoverboard from the movie in there. So that was a pretty cool thing to see as well.
And the Sports Almanac as well.
Yeah.
Book. We tried the Chicago style pizza, which is called a deep dish, and it's basically like this thick, and it's in like the crust goes up sort of like a pie without a top on it, and they just fill it with pizza toppings. The majority of it's just cheese. Like you're probably eating, I don't even know, a whole packet of cheese.
Oh, at least.
So yeah, that was it was good, but it was just different.
Yeah.
Chicago's also got the chrome kidney, the big old.
The bean, apparently it's cool, but we don't believe that shit. It's a chrome kidney.
Yeah.
But yeah, compared to the Moss balls, wouldn't waste my time.
Yeah. After Chicago, we stayed there for a whole week. We headed down to St. Louis quickly because we wanted to check out. So it's meant to be the tallest infrastructure in America, apparently. It was 192 meters, I believe, yeah. And it's just an arch that goes up like that, and they have made these little elevator pods that go up the shaft of the arch, and you just get to the top. And you get to see out. You look out these tiny windows, and you can see the city.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked to be up there, honestly. Especially because when you're standing up there, I could barely move in the end. It was getting so heavy. I was shitting myself. It was such a weird experience because it just felt like you were just basically standing up there on nothing. There was nothing underneath you, and you were just in this like tiny little room. It was pretty claustrophobic. Yeah, especially the elevators. They were tiny. They were to fit 4 people in them, and they were I don't even know. They wouldn't have been much wider than the car.
Yeah, you had 5 people in there.
Yeah, they were crazy.
And because it is an arch, the elevator has to go up on an angle, so the cart has to like mechanically re-pivot to make you stay on level, so you don't. Yeah, so it's as you're going up, it just like goes back down, till you get to the top. So yeah, it's interesting.
I've never been more happy to be back on solid ground. After that, we went on through. We were heading on through to Denver, Colorado, and that's where we had one of our very first issues with Sherry, and that was we blew the front right-hand wheel bearing to 2 pieces. And rolled into a local town, got it fixed up, thankfully, and we're back on our way. But that was a bit of a $300 detour in the end.
Yeah, a couple of hours.
but needed to be done. Got it all fixed up. She was good to go after that. And yeah, went on through to Denver.
Yeah, Denver's really nice, quite small town, but heaps of like vegetation. Yeah, so the Rockies as well were just amazing. We did some drives out to a town called Aspen through the Rockies, and it's just like driving through canyons with creeks and snowfields and all these ski resorts, and it's just like it's just incredible just driving.
The driving out there is phenomenal. It's so good just to drive around, take in as much as you can. The scenery is just incredible out that way.
Then we moved up to South Dakota where Mount Rushmore is.
But we also encountered our by far coldest weather we've experienced.
So yeah, got to -12. And
Celsius.
yeah, we were sitting at Walmart at about 9 o'clock at night thinking we couldn't feel our feet at this point, and we were thinking, how are we going to survive this night? And luckily through social media we found someone that was willing to let us sleep on their couch. Yeah, luckily we got to actually sleep inside that night and didn't have to endure that weather.
So dodged a bit of a bullet there. Driving the next morning was interesting. We got stuck for about 15 minutes on a curb because we couldn't get any traction to move off.
So we had to shovel our way out.
Push the car as well. So that was good fun at 10 o'clock in the morning while it's still -10.
Just ripping a fat burnout on the street.
Yeah. Sherry just frying us out. That was cool.
Well, by the time we actually got traction and started moving though, we headed onto Mount Rushmore, which is sick. Like, I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's something you need to see to believe. That just when you're driving up to it and you see glimpses of it, you sort of can't take in quite how they managed to do it. And then when you actually get up there and you can have a close-up look of it from the ground compared to where it is, it's just like how did they get it to all look so good, so perfect, and how'd they even get up there to do it? It's something you got to see to believe, that's for sure.
So now we're South Dakota's at the top of America. We wanted to get to a place called Horseshoe Bend, which is back down near the Grand Canyon, and it was like a 19-hour drive, and we wanted to do it before the weekend because we wanted to get down to Phoenix by the weekend. So we did, I think, 2 days of 10 hours pretty much. Just non-stop driving for just 2 days through Utah, which just the drive through there was amazing as well. Seeing some of the arches and
yeah, that was awesome. Drove down, got to Horseshoe, which is just inside the Arizona border, and yeah, that was again something to behold, something you need to see to believe. Got there pretty early in the morning as well because we had another day of driving to do, and thankfully we did because it's a pretty hot tourist spot. It got packed out by the time we were leaving. But yeah, stayed there for a while, had breakfast at Horseshoe, which was
So after that, we had decided to go back to Phoenix, so all the way back down to the bottom, because of the first time we went there, we met Zach, and that was when we were at that big party where we did the Shoeys, and we wanted to come back because we had a bit of time on our hands, so we thought we'll go back, hang out with them for a bit.
We stayed in contact with Zach, and he actually offered to let us stay at his place with his family, which was awesome. So we got to get out of the car for like a week. Yeah, just the little luxuries of being able to walk to the toilet at night rather than have to go into Walmart. And yeah, just being able to stand up wherever you want, not be so hunched over in the van all the time. So that was really nice of them. Their family was awesome, so welcoming for us. Really welcomed us in like family.
One of their family relatives they throw once a year a crawfish cook-up at their house where they do it like New Orleans style, which we've never even seen before. And luckily it was the weekend we were there, and they actually invited us out to, get involved with it and try it. And yeah, the way they did it was just so different. Never tried anything like that, really.
Crawfish are yabbies. And yeah, they cook them up with all these spices, corn, potatoes, huge, massive bundles of garlic, sausages in it. Like something I've certainly never tried before, but definitely want to make some up when I get back home. Because yeah, it's just tastes so good.
The whole Phoenix experience was just good. Just being with their family. Zach also has a bunch of friends that
are all just mad chillers as well. They're just awesome people.
Yeah, they were just taking us out, showing us things. They do showing us what they do on their weekends, which there's a river close by to where they live, and you have to do a bit of off-roading. And then we just went out there.
They go to Walmart, fill up the back with pallets first.
Yeah, just steal some pallets.
Take them out there, and they have a fire and just chill out, have some beers and stuff, and just everyone relaxes and just catches up. So that was awesome.
On Sunday as well, we also booked a festival, Phoenix Lights, which had some pretty big names. Pretty much like on the desert ground, so it was so dusty. All the mosh pits were just dust. And first we were wondering why everyone was wearing like bandanas over their mouths, and we realised very quickly that there was a good reason for it.
Yeah, it was just to stop you inhaling every bit of sand and dirt in the air as the mosh starts. So yeah, we learnt the hard way.
And nearing the end of the night, some idiot decided to steal my phone. So I lost my phone, unfortunately, which also means I lost a bunch of videos of the Gateway Arch, St. Louis, a bit of stuff in Chicago. So lost a bit of stuff, unfortunately, but...
Lost each other for a few hours in the festival as well. Didn't have any idea what was going on.
Yeah, I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't contact him, so it was just... Yeah, it was a bit...
It was balls up.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stitch up.
Going back to Phoenix was definitely worth it. Had so much fun down there, just meeting so many more people again. And unfortunately, we did have to leave, but we started heading back up towards Horseshoe, and there's actually just over the Arizona border into Utah. There's a national park called Zion.
Yeah, so I found this. I didn't find the hike. I found a picture on Instagram of just the top view, and I was looking at it like, we got to do this. This is like awesome. Little did I know, to get to this view, you had to endure 7.8 kilometers of rigorous,
near on vertical hiking.
Yeah, and me being the laziest person on this planet, just struggled so hard.
2 months of being in the van, we are two unfit motherfuckers.
So it's only 1 mile in, I reckon. We still have to get up there. We're climbing up there, about 1 mile in, and yeah, I'll let you know how it feels soon. But it's already not good.
Yeah, it went pretty much diagonally up, steep, and before it turned back was probably only, 20 meters, and I had to stop almost at every single one just for getting my breath back.
Checkpoint. Not as steep for a minute, but whew, it's harder than Everest, I'm telling you. We're getting there.
Get to the top and it levels out, and then you have the real challenge.
It then became a lot more,
Became more like rock climbing.
yeah.
It was, some of the spots you were going from one cliff to the other cliff, and it'd be a passageway that'd be as wide as your shoulders and a sheer 1,000-foot drop either side with one handrail. After we'd completed it, we looked it up and actually found out that it's classified as the scariest hike in America. So we had no idea about that before we tried to tackle it.
Getting a bit steep now.
Yeah, eventually, after scaling some sheer rocks, we made it to the top of Angel's Landing. That was incredible. The view, being able to look over the whole valley. But yeah, just to see where you started from to where you get in a couple of hours, it's just,
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best views I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Definitely well worth the pain I had to go through to get to the top.
the danger.
But yeah, it was definitely one of the coolest things that we've ever done.
Alright, 2 hours later, after a bit of rock climbing and a strenuous uphill walk,
We made it to the top, boys and girls. Angel's Landing, Zion National Park, Utah.
it's absolutely beautiful up here.
So after Zion National Park, we decided to drive up to Salt Lake City, which is their major city through Utah. There wasn't a whole lot going on there. It's a pretty small town. The best part about it is you're in this town, and regardless of where you are, no matter what, 360 degrees all the way around you is just mountains and just covered in snow.
Snow-top mountains everywhere.
So in regards to like views from just living where you live, it's one of the best. Like coming out of a Walmart and just seeing that.
Yeah, come out of the Walmart or a mall or anything like that, and the first thing you see is just huge mountains in the background. It's crazy. It's so nice out there.
So that was pretty sick.
Met up with some people in Utah. We were just cruising around with them, and offered to let us shoot a gun.
Yeah, just out of the blue when we were driving in her car, she goes, "Do you guys want to shoot a gun? I've got one in the car." And we're like, okay, as long as you don't shoot me with it, let's do this.
Yeah. So yeah, just drove out in the middle of nowhere and just pulled out this gun, little 22, and so got to shoot a handgun.
Yeah, that was the first. So after that, we didn't really know where we were going to go. So besides Portland, but that was a while away. So we headed towards Portland, and we ended up stopping at a place called Twin Falls, which we didn't even know what it was. We just drove in there. And as you drive in, you cross a bridge, which is just a huge canyon that sort of circles the whole town, and it's just massive. And we didn't even realise we were going to come across it, but it was just amazing to see.
And at the bridge that crosses it through, that goes into the main part of the town, there's dudes just parachuting off of it, just base jumping off the bridge. So yeah, we managed to see a few of them doing that. The weather wasn't very good, so we only saw one lot of them, but apparently it's a pretty regular spot. People just
Base jump
off of whatever they want, so that was cool.
After we went to Twin Falls, we just slept at a town called Boise. Got to try some more scones there.
Different type of scones again. These ones are basically just a donut.
Yeah, I don't know what their things are over here. They're always different every
Always
time.
weird. Every state, the scones are a different thing, basically.
So we finally made it up to Portland, which was one of the last stops on our road trip. City itself, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like LA, but with more vegetation. It's pretty dirty. It's pretty run down, but there's heaps of trees and stuff all throughout the city, so There's some spots where it's really nice. There's some other spots where it's just rough as guts, though. But they did have some pretty cool places to check out just outside the city. They had these huge waterfalls. We actually met up with this girl who was new to the town as well, but wanted to meet some people, and she actually took us out to these waterfalls. And first one I went to, you walk down to the bottom of it and you're looking at it, but then you hike up around and it actually takes you up to the top of the waterfall. So we got some awesome shots of standing up the top of this waterfall after we'd just been at the bottom.
We decided to go a bit off track a bit to try to get a bit closer, so we ended up crossing like the creek through like over some logs and ended up getting right to the very tip of the waterfall where the water was just coming straight across.
Where it just cascades over.
So got some cool videos.
Yeah, that's just an awesome spot just to be at.
Jack went ass up in the process.
Yeah.
Into the mud.
Yeah. Fucking wore a bit of mud for the afternoon. It happens to the best of them.
Yeah. So we stayed around Portland for a couple of days, looking around in the city and out by the waterfalls. And then we went up to where we are currently right now, which is Seattle.
And Seattle's cool. It's pretty similar to Portland, except it's less dero. It's pretty clean, and there's heaps of vegetation through the city. Like, as you drive over the bridges and stuff to get from one island to the other, you see houses, but there's always heaps of trees in between and behind the houses and whatnot. So it's a really, really nice city. Just to even just walk around in. There's heaps of parks and stuff everywhere.
So coming into the last few days of our trip, we've had the van for sale. We started at $3,500. We bought it for $3,300, so we thought we'd start with a bit higher than what we bought it for, just to push our luck.
And when we looked at the van originally in LA, I hopped underneath the van to have a look, and most of the stuff under the car was fucked. There was rust everywhere. We were like, fuck it, because everything else was sort of like $6,000 or $7,000 plus. So this thing was by far the cheapest, and we were just like, fuck it, we'll take a risk, and which paid off for us because we
luckily we haven't had an issue with it.
Yeah, apart from the wheelbarrow and the blue and the one flat tire we had, she's been an absolute dream. So that was all well and good, but selling it on to other people that was a bit more difficult.
Yeah, we had a lot of interest for $3,500. We thought, hell yeah, we're going to actually make more money on this. The first person that was interested wanted to get an inspection done on it, as you should. This is where it went downhill. I'll read out a couple of the things that came back. Rust through frame of van, front about to break off. Broken frame from rust connected to sway bar. Loose steering components, which he says is very close to snapping the whole steering of the car.
So the steering shaft under the chassis ram's ready to go.
I've got cracked drive belt, rusted motor, rough trans operation, drive shaft has rust, all shocks have rust, unfit for roads. So after that...
So that's kind of shot $3,500 right out of the sky. And from there we decided to take a bit more of a different approach and put it up for $1,000 instead. Eventually, Bart, whatever his name is, he's this gentleman that's bought it from us. This little old Mexican dude. Kind of feel like he shafted us. Had a sort of weird gut feeling after driving away from the deal.
Yeah, so we ended up selling it for $700.
Yeah. She's been cheap accommodation.
But yeah, he's letting us keep it till Sunday, which is when we have a bus to Vancouver. So we get to have the van, free accommodation until the end of America, I guess.
Yeah. Tomorrow we're going back to the Australian pub. We're gonna have one big fucking last send off for the last day in America, get loose, and then go
have a palmy.
Yeah, go over to old Barty's place and sayonara Sherry.
Yeah. So then she's gone, and then
It's been fucking wild. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it.
So we're on the final drive before we get rid of the van and move up to Canada. Shoeys go! Shoeys go! It's the last drive we'll ever doing it. Quite sad, but the road trip's been amazing. So
It's been a fucking blast. Thanks to everyone we've met. Met some fucking awesome people. Done some fucking awesome shit.
yeah, so chapter over, Canada coming up.
Let's go, boys. Stay
Peace
safe.
out. Let's do this.